Speaking of Benghazi, tomorrow night, this time, right at this time tomorrow night, we will be speaking with one of the speakers at the Benghazi protest/rally on 9/11. He is the co-director of Benghazi 9/11. If you want to learn more about that, Benghazi9-11.com. But check it out. His name, Buzz Jacobs, good friend. We'll bring you everything you need to know on Benghazi, what we've learned over the year, and an in-depth interview with Buzz Jacobs. On the flip side of the break, we will be hitting a debate on Benghazi, and pretty extraordinary and explosive, between Juan Williams, Karl Rove, Britt Hume, and Chris Wallace gets into it. Yes, laughter at the end, and not in a good way for Juan Williams. That said, we shift gears and we move to a resignation at the NAACP. President Ben Jealous is stepping down, and he's doing that to teach and spend more time with his family. Benjamin Jealous, NAACP. Well, Crane, where are you going to go with this? I mean, why are you talking about this now? You don't like talking about race. I don't, but we've got to expose what has happened to the NAACP, not always an organization that has had this type of rhetoric and that, quite frankly, works against the very thing that it fought for, equality under the law. So as an organization, it certainly has taken a turn, in my estimation, not for the better over the years. With that said, Benjamin Jealous in 2010, if you want a little history of his rhetoric, and this is courtesy of Legal Insurrection blog with professor and lawyer, law professor and lawyer, yes, Bill Jacobson, does a great job there, and we've had him on the broadcast. Well, he picks up on a speech in 2010, and in this speech, this was a response to the Tea Party and the effectiveness of the Tea Party. Hey, when you have the IRS and they still can't beat you with the IRS, you knew something was going on, just how strong this Tea Party movement was in this country. So it had to be confronted. And so what we have now is a speech from 2010. Here is now resigning President Benjamin Jealous. Roll it.
All we have to do to get our nation's economy finally working for all of us is to do what we did in 2008 and do what we did when the other side said healthcare reform is dead. We got to pull together with our allies. We got to get our members off the couch. We got to get our neighbors into the streets. And we got to fight like we know regular folk who drink coffee are way more powerful than any little group of costumed elites who claim to like tea.
So that's the AstroTurf movement that he was speaking to. And then he had this to say about the Tea Party. Roll it.
And so if they are tracking this speech tonight, and I suspect they are, my message to the Tea Party is this: you must expel the bigots and racists in your ranks or take full responsibility for all of their actions. We will no longer allow you to hide like cowards behind signs that say lynch our president or anyone else. And we will not allow you to send people into the U.S. Congress calling civil rights heroes like John Lewis the N-word or Barney Frank the F-word and act like you didn't send them there.
Now, this man is part of the NAACP, was the president of the NAACP. He's now resigning. But that was in 2010, pretty effective Tea Party. But what he said is not true. But he said it. People said it over and over again. We got to call it racist. We got to destroy the Tea Party. When you have the IRS on your side and you still can't do it, pretty strong organization, those Tea Parties. Bravo, Tea Party. But he accused them of some awful things. One was in reference to what Andrew Breitbart, may he rest in peace, did with a video of the Congressional Black Caucus walking through the line of people during the health care debate, and they said words were said and somebody was spitting as well on these members of Congress. Andrew Breitbart said, hey, $100,000 if you can produce a video. Everybody, there's enough video there, find it. They couldn't find it, but they said it, and they accused those of that. The other part to that is he went and, in essence, said, you've got to call out those with these signs. And I got to tell you, number one, the signs couldn't find them. I guess, did he go to an Occupy Wall Street and it wasn't Obama, but it was somebody else? Maybe he got the movements mixed up. That said, this is the tactic of the left. Now, those of you on the left, I appreciate you listening. I appreciate everybody listening. Thank you. And I don't mean this as insulting, because I really do want to reach you, because I want you to see what the truth is. How dare you? You think you have a monopoly on the truth. Well, just check out what I say. Because what you think you're fighting for, I get the idea you really don't understand it. Because if you understood it and you had the confidence of your agenda, you wouldn't need lies and distortions to back it up to advance it. But you got to key in. And you got the president of this organization. And remember, it's a liberal organization, because they're really not fans of advancement of African Americans, blacks. No. Liberal? Yeah. So there's a qualifier. Otherwise, you're pretty much a sellout, right? And if you're a person of color listening, I look at you as a fellow American. Red blood, okay? And in God's eyes, a unique creation like I am, but no better, no worse. You have been given gifts, and I don't see a difference between us. That's the beauty of America. The fact is, without the divisions and the false allegations, what do they have? Well, they have a president that really has put in policies that have hurt, if we want to go racially, that group of Americans. Increase the unemployment. Median income down $10,000 for black families. So if you look at this and you say, what are the policies? See, I want you to focus in on the policy. I want you to focus in on the truth. How these policies are working. You hate racism, right? I hate racism. You shouldn't hate. Okay, you get what I mean. If you see some clown with some sheets on, burning a small tea or attempting to do so, yeah, I think that oftentimes turns Mr. Hand into Mr. Fist. And I'm not an advocate for violence. Absolutely not. But a good old fire hose maybe to put it out, and exposing the person for the ridiculous organization that they represent. I say pretty much the same thing for the Black Panthers, by the way. But that said, let's not go to the Springer stage. Let's go right here and focus in on the policies. You see, the policies are equality under the law, freedom. And what you are doing by supporting the type of agenda that Ben Jealous is talking about is not freedom. It's oppression. I got to tell you, when I think of children in Louisiana not being able to go to the school of choice to get out of a failing school, and they happen to be of color, and a Department of Justice going down and using the legislation against them, the very legislation that's supposed to be helping them, those in need who desire to be equal under the law and want that opportunity and can't. We always talk about the opportunity, right? I mean, that's one of the things we talk about. I'm talking to you as an American. But what's being done right now is you're being manipulated, and they really think you're stupid. They do. Because why else would they lie to you time and time again? They either think you are so bought into the idea that because somebody has the same color as you do in skin, that you will sign on for them. Imagine if I said that. Imagine if somebody got up and started speaking for white people. Me, Whitey Magoo, sitting there going, yeah, that person speaks for me because he's the same color. How asinine. Yeah, it's asinine. And then you get clowns like, and clown's a nice word, like David Duke or other very misguided and troubled folk. But that's what they count on. So what I'm doing is I'm talking to you. And I also want you to consider this, considering the fact that this program and this network, we have a Christian worldview. As a Christian, what are they advancing? What are they advancing for you? Because it sounds like they're inhibiting the use of your godly gifts. They're not recognizing that you are an individual, not a color. You're not going to spend your life being a color. Now, you could say this, and it could say, hey, listen, Crane, you don't get it. You're white. And it doesn't make sense. Okay, but what are you embracing by saying that? Now, I am talking to people of color, brown, light brown, whatever it may be. But I'm also talking to each and every one who is listening, who happens to be an American. We've got to stop this stuff. This stuff is ridiculous. And it's hurting us all. And by the way, they're counting on you not to hear me, not to give me a chance. Because I don't support racially based caucuses. Because I think they are antithetical, in essence, to being equal under law and recognizing us for the content of our character as opposed to the color of our skin. I think they really take what God has given us as being unique creations as He created us to be. And they've said, no, we're going to put a box around you, and that box is based on the race, your race. The choice is yours. Brain Durham's, nothing but truth. Proudly on AFR Talk.